Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. I came to a realization this morning. There is an added benefit to having an open intake in the Toyota Tacoma, like what I have right there, as opposed to having the closed stock OEM closed cold air intake. But before we get to that, I also realized something else today. You know, when I bought the truck, they always activate that Toyota app, right? They're always hip to do that because they want you to subscribe to it once the free trial runs out. So typically when I pull my Tacoma in the garage to do stuff, it gives me a message. I get a message from that app saying that the doors are unlocked, which is fine, whatever. But today I must have opened the hood before that system shut down, if you will. And I got another message, one that I don't recall seeing before, that told me my hood is open. And I got to thinking, you know, with all the technology and stuff that we have, these things create another avenue for problems or another revenue stream for Toyota if they go bad. And that is sensors. There are sensors apparently all over the place. Sensors in the doors that tell me if the doors are open, and even a sensor somewhere in the hood. And I'm not exactly sure where that is because I've never really noticed any kind of plungers or anything. I mean, are there any plungers? Where are they? Those that you see there, those are just fixed pieces. They're not plungers. So where is the connection that tells the system that the hood is open? I don't know where it is, but you can bet it's buried somewhere under there so that if it goes bad, and it's a sensor, inevitably it will, then you're going to probably get some sort of a sensor malfunction warning. I don't know, something that I've never seen in the truck before, but now in the back of my mind, I'm just waiting for that to happen. Just more stuff. And by the way, that service, that app, I only have it now because it was almost forced upon me. Not really, I could have refused. But the dealerships are always so gung-ho to set you up. They want to type in all your information while you're sitting there. I am not going to be paying for that or carrying it forward once it ends. I think it's a 3-month trial or something like that. And I believe it's also, still tied to remote starting. For instance, if you're sitting up in an office building somewhere, I don't know, and it's too cold or too hot outside, and you want to remote start the truck, you still have to have that service as far as I know. That doesn't mean you can't remote start the truck if you're within range of the remote. You can still go through that option. So if you have an office that's sitting right in front of where you park, you probably wouldn't need that app or to pay for that service anyway. Just a little FYI. Now, the benefit that I discovered this morning, I put an open intake on my Toyota Tacoma. You guys can see it right there. I painted the tubing just to match everything up because I thought it would be cool. And I have to say, every time I open the hood, I love seeing that. I think it's awesome. Matches the truck for the most part. Yeah, it might be a shade off, but this color changes in the shade anyway, much more so than that color that I actually painted on the tubing. Now, as I mentioned, you can see I do have an open intake. It's not technically a cold air intake because it would suck air in from the engine compartment as well, as opposed to the true cold air intake, which just sucks air in through this tube. Now, if you're not familiar, this part, the inlet, I believe they call it, actually kind of plugs into the hole that you see right there. And then air comes in via the fender area. So it's funneled up somehow, probably just through the fender, feeds into the cold air intake, and then on in to keep the engine a little bit cooler, or the air that's going in that's going to explode with your gasoline a little bit cooler. Now, the benefit that I discovered, sometimes down here I park outside. Sometimes I leave the truck outside overnight. And you can imagine living anywhere that has this kind of vegetation, or maybe out in the country somewhere, or maybe it doesn't really matter. There are critters everywhere. It's amazing how many critters actually come out at night. Rats and mice and squirrels and you name it, snakes, whatever. So by having this closed system, I'm providing a critter hotel. In other words, since air obviously has to get through that hole, it's open. so anything that's out there can crawl on up, access that hole, and gain entry to this lovely little domicile that is provided in the truck. I've seen many stories, I've seen pictures of critters that have built their homes inside here. They get in, they chew up your filter, they'll bring materials in from the outside, leaves and all kinds of stuff, and make a home in here to have babies that then create more problems. Some of the worst horror stories that I've seen, kind of a side note, are when critters get up into your engine bay. This would be separate from that, of course, because it would be a closed system on up until the throttle body there, where the flap hopefully is closed, so they can't get in your engine. But they can get in the engine bay and start chewing on stuff. All that wiring, the wiring I've added, building nests in there, which can still happen no matter what. But why give them the opportunity or a nice cozy house, the rat hotel, the snake dorm, to live in? You know, it's one benefit, I think, something I hadn't considered, to having this open intake. Yeah, critters can still crawl up through the side, through that hole, but they don't have anywhere cozy to go. They don't have this box to make their home in. They could build some sort of a nest here if they wanted to, I suppose, but it's just not as convenient as other things that are out there. And even if they did, this is now sealed. They have no way to get in the tube unless they chew through here, and there's no reason for them to. I mean, unless you have a pack of salmon or something that's going to draw them on in, they're not going to chew through here to get into the engine or up to the throttle body where there's nothing for them. And even if they do decide to build something in this area for some crazy reason, at least it's accessible. I don't have to rip everything apart to see it. And that's the other thing, I can see it. By simply lifting the hood, I can visually inspect this area and know if anything's going on over there. It's more difficult, obviously, when you have a covered system. You have to flip these things off, muscle the top off, which strangely is usually fairly difficult to do, and check and see if there's anything in there. You have to pull the filter out as well. I don't have to do that with this system. It just makes life easier. One extra thing that I don't have to do because I can see everything right down in here. Anyway, I just wanted to get in and talk about this a little bit. You know, I came to this realization and I thought, wow, there actually is another kind of crazy side benefit to having an open air intake. By the way, I will tell you, I haven't noticed any issues in having that open air intake. I haven't seen the temperature gauge go up, like it's not getting enough cool air or anything. It does still get fed by that hole, by the way, that you can see is right here. So air is still being fed in and picked up by the system here. Granted, it could get a little bit of hotter air, warmer air from being open under the hood. Not a problem. I haven't had any issues with it. Leave a comment. Let me know. Ever had any critters decide to claim your engine bay or air filter as their home? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.